How's it, folks? The Sprint update, or patch 1.22 for Dying Light 2, has just arrived. It is mostly focused on tower raid, a couple of fixes and co-op changes and whatnot, but they've tarred the tower raid and the main game a bit tighter by adding in a lot more rewards you can earn in the tower raid that you can redeem in your main game save file. So they definitely try to push tower raid more and more. And in the patch notes, they mentioned that they've added 27 new weapons, as well as 3 new elemental pistols, although a little caveat on the 27 new weapons. It sounds a lot, but it's not 27 unique weapons. It's actually 3 different elemental variations of the same weapon. So you'll have a fire machete, a lightning machete, and a frost machete, for example. And you get one of those elemental variations for each of the 9 weapons. So you basically have 9 new weapons with 3 new elemental variations of each one of those weapons. And then 3 elemental pistols, which basically shoot elemental bullets like that will do lightning damage or frost damage or fire damage and trigger that status effect. So they will shock a nearby group or freeze a single target solid or start burning a target. But the more important part for those new weapons is the new weapon mod that comes pre-installed on each one of those weapons. That's called Infused, and it does 40% more damage to targets that are already suffering from that status effect. So for example, if you have a frost machete and you inflict frost on a volatile, the next swing, and however many times you swing at the volatile while it's still frozen, will deal 40% more damage with each of those hits. So it's a pretty big damage boost for different elemental playstyles, which is quite nice to see. The only other caveat attached to it is that you do need to progress through the tower raid in order to claim and use those weapons. If you guys want me to do a video showcasing each one of those weapons, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume you know what I'm talking about. They've also made a couple of changes to the UI elements, where you can now claim the rewards at your convenience instead of them automatically unlocking and getting sent to your stash. And they've added a stash bag right near that woman where you claim the rewards in the tower raid, so you can manage it from the tower raid itself. They've also added the breach outfit as one of the rewards. That's the one with the medic in the blue and green with the gas mask. And they do specify that it's the first of them, so they are probably going to add the other tower raid skins into the main game sometime in the future. They've also made quite a few co-op improvements, including resolving enemy behavior that's affected by synchronization between players, so that you should have smoother gameplay and reduce discrepancies and the enemy infected and whatnot sliding around and jumping between players. They've also made the HUD clearer and more streamlined, and they do specify that co-op remains a key focus for them, and they're going to keep adding new stuff in the coming months. And then they also brought up that they've added a visual mods tool for the modders out there, so you can more easily change the atmosphere with the mod tools available now. And it also allows you to change the textures in the environment on weapons and even clothing. So basically a whole slew of visual mods should now be able to be created for PC players. And they are going to work towards making it available for console players as well in the future. And then aside from those main features, there's a couple of other changes they mentioned in the patch notes. Starting off with co-op, they fixed the issue with the GRE aberration teleporting in co-op during its mission, fixed the issue with volatiles occasionally teleporting between ground and higher surfaces, fixed the issue with the van conversation not playing until all players are nearby during the breakthrough quest. And then in the tower raid, fixed the issue with Barter sometimes teleporting while traversing climbable objects, fix the issue with tower raid achievements tracking the wrong kind of damage, for example blunt instead of slashing, fix the issue with slope on the upper part of the roof causing virals and Barters to slide while in a frozen pose, fix the issue with the wardrobe not being moved for peers when the host is too far from them in co-op, fix the meshes of firearms found in chests, fix the issue where the player might become stuck when sliding between multiple tables and sofas. They've also moved where you can start your tower raid games from. It's no longer from the poster at the back of the train station. Now it's much closer to the entrance in front of a couple of those glowing maps before you even reach J or the Rewards Lady. And then moving on to the gameplay changes, they fixed the issue with some ranged weapons and tools sound sometimes glitching when used during parkour shot. Fixed the issue with ragdoll sometimes not applying correctly when performing ground pound. Fixed the issue with the enemy not being synced properly during finishes in tight spaces. Fixed the issue of allowing players to get outside the elevated cabin. And then finally, moving on to technical. Fixed the issue with the Snake Warrior's boots sometimes displaying Killer Krampus's boots. Fix the issue of audio sometimes missing in random parts of the cutscene right after skipping the prologue. Fix the issue with the map sometimes showing only icons. Fixed various crashes. Fix the issue when sometimes hanging from the metro wagon will cause Aiden to get sent into the air. Fix the issue when the player receives less XP upon killing multiple enemies simultaneously. Fix the issue with PS5 haptic feedback sometimes not working properly after performing specific actions. Fix the issue where weapons would sometimes stay in the hands of the character model during various animations. Fix the issue with some weapons missing shadows. And fix the issue with the game crashing when the player continuously fast travels between metro stations. And that's pretty much it for patch 1.22 or the sprint update for Dying Light 2. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care and cheers for now.